Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host Greg Fearon, and for the third time, she's actually the highest listened podcast in history of my podcast. I've got the awesome Tej FIT. Let's go. How are you, Tej?
Hello, Greg. How are you?
I'm awesome. Good to see you. Good to see you. It's been too long.
I like this clean-shaven look. It looks good on you.
Yeah, I thought I would make myself look a bit younger in lockdown and stuff.
You definitely do. The rest of us got older. You just got younger. You reversed time over lockdown.
Black don't crack. But I will say, and I'm going to put full transparency up. I think during lockdown, because obviously I did my Achilles tendon.
I know. Bless your heart. Oh God, that must have been painful.
Oh man, it was a bit brutal at first, and it was a big experience. But I think I must have put on about 15, 20 pounds. I think just eating wine gums, and yeah, clients were just bringing me food all the time.
Oh, we have the best clients, don't we?
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about, right? So yeah, my clients made me fat. So
I'm pretty sure it wasn't that they didn't put a gun to your head, but was there an element, do you think, of some emotional eating there as well, where you're feeling sorry for yourself and in pain and you're just like, sod it, I'm going to have that? It happens, doesn't it, Greg? Greg's nodding, by the way.
Hell yeah. So if you watch this on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, you'll see I am nodding because there was a whole lot of emotional eating. Was like, and I guess that's how my clients sometimes feel. I get it. It was just like, yeah, my legs, I can't do anything. I could hobble around. It was really frustrating for me. And I couldn't climb and all that stuff. So yeah.
You're a big avid climber.
Yeah.
I can totally, I say totally, I can sympathize because I did injure myself yesterday, and it was pretty bad. I fell off a bench whilst doing weighted pull-ups. Yeah, and my ankle just pronated, and with the weight belt on, and it ended up triggering my sciatica on the other side as well, which is obviously fun. Which means I'm in pain today. And honestly, I'm sitting here going, I could just murder a tub of ice cream. I feel so sorry for myself. I can't train. I really was desperate to do my lower body. I've got into such a good groove with it. I'm just like, well, fuck it. If I can't train, then I might as well just eat like crap. And this is where a lot of our people come from, isn't it?
Yep. This is something we hear all the time. It's like, stuff it. I'm just going to eat chocolate and ice cream. But we have to, you can have some ice cream. Why not? But I think the big thing for me is like, if people wallow too long, that's when the problems become.
Yes. It becomes a habit more so than anything. So anytime then, I was literally just talking to someone about it. One of my favorite books is James Clear's Atomic Habits, and he has this thing: you do something twice and it becomes a habit. So if every time you are sad you eat, if every time you are stressed you eat, it becomes a habit. And so you basically just create a pattern for yourself where you associate that emotion with eating a particular thing that might not actually be necessary for you.
Totally agree. So let's dive into coaching now. So how's things with your business and helping people come into?
Really good. I mean, I have been very, very blessed. I won't lie. Lockdown was difficult, and we had a podcast that we recorded, I think, in the middle of last lockdown. We've basically done one podcast a year since we've known each other, I think.
Wow. Yeah, it is about right, isn't it? Yeah.
Literally almost a year to the date. But it's been a very, very busy year because a lot of people found that they were not looking after themselves as they usually were, being able to, be active, free on a natural basis. That was all obviously taken away from us, and people did find that they were not just putting on the pounds, but more so feeling really locked in within themselves and their four walls, because they're not going out to work, they're not able to socialize.
Yep.
In fact, even the inability to, or the need to dress up in normal office clothes meant that they were in like expansive jogging bottoms and leggings and stuff, and they didn't realize how much that they and their body and their habits were changing.
Totally.
So as soon as a lot of them realized, they wanted to start working on themselves. And it is hard to find that motivation and the tools to do what you need to get yourself in a much better place again, because you've essentially for pretty much an entire year been sitting at your desk, sitting at the TV watching Netflix and doing nothing else really.
But that's why they come to us.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all right. That's why we're around. But and I think you're right. I think there's something you mentioned there about having the motivation to. So, what do you think makes people make the change and go, do you know what? I need to get this sorted. What do you think sparks that motivation?
Yeah, a whole host of things. For some, it's the, oh crap, I've got to go back to work in the office. Some offices have called their staff back 1 day, 2 days a week, and you obviously need to start dressing up for that. That's when a lot of them have realized that I no longer fit into my work clothes. I'm bigger. I didn't even realize it. And then there's the other lot of people who are they realize that their whole mental health side has been affected detrimentally, and they don't want to feel like that any longer. They know that they've become more irritable and almost going stale at just staying. Yeah. And they just want to be able to find that motivation and be motivated, and they just don't know what to do to get there. But obviously, as we know, it's less the motivation they need and just structure and a routine again in this new setup of life that they've got.
So what is it you do that you help? How do you help people get that structure? Because I think that's important for people to understand that as an online coach, I kind of feel like we can help people with that more. So how do you do that?
Well, from this perspective over here, we work with people on a one-to-one basis. So we look at what their current lifestyle is like, and we look at what they want to achieve. Not everyone wants weight loss or fat loss. Some people want to get stronger. They want to get fitter. Some people are like, I hate running, but I've always wanted to run a 5K or a 10K, right? And for others, it's just a case of like, I've got a lot of posts, like now I think since our last podcast, I'm now pre and postnatal specialized. So I've got a lot of, mummies who've given birth in the midst of a pandemic, bless their hearts, who want to get back to feeling stronger, healthier, bring their posture back into alignment and just feel better about themselves as a new mum. And the thing is, this is why, because I'm working with such a whole host of different women on such varying goals, it's about finding what works best for them in their life. So not everybody's routines will look the same, not everybody's structure will look the same, but my job is to find what works best for that individual so that they can do it without overwhelming themselves in their life. And they, hopefully the main thing is that they enjoy it. They enjoy the process and the journey.
And there's something you touched on there about the individuality. Like I have a group program, which is actually individual, and I have one-to-one, of course. But one of the big things I'm seeing a lot of at the minute is this kind of cookie cutter. You must do this rule or else you're not in the gang type coaching. And that's really upsetting me. I know that upsets me. So what are your thoughts on what you've used?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I have seen and I've experienced, having worked with a few other coaches, the whole cookie cutter solution thing where they will just send out the generic workout plan to absolutely everyone. And from my perspective, obviously you've been PTing for ages. I started PTing because I had a sheer love for treating our bodies that well. When I look at people who come on board, I want to make sure that we are tackling the right things for their bodies, okay, for their goals, but more specifically for their bodies. So I will look at everything that they are starting off with as a base. And what is the sense in getting someone to do a whole host of exercises if you can see that their posture is not in the right place? They're going to have core weaknesses. They're going to, they're telling you that they've got XYZ issues, but you're just giving them a generic cookie cutter plan, which is maybe going to even exacerbate the problem. How does that work? Like,
because you can't coach or be a coach if you're not right in the nutrition protocols or the program or whatever, but also not doing the training aspect, right?
Absolutely. This is, I mean, we're online coaches, fitness coaches, body coaches, whatever you want to call it, if you can't put your shit together to put a workout program together for a person that has come to you for specific help, you shouldn't be a coach. Okay, that's just one of the basics. But also, you have these people who think that it's just about putting together a workout program, and that's the crux of coaching. Hell, absolutely freaking not.
No, too true.
Because you forget what does coaching actually mean? You are coaching somebody to do things in a better way for them to achieve the results that they want. From us as an objective party from their actions to their goals.
And it's creating a safe space where they can come and get messy. Like I love it when my clients are like, Greg, man, I really messed up this week. Like, and I'm like, that's awesome. Right. This is where the fun begins. I love it. They get perfect for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then it goes off. And that's where I think coaching is the most powerful tool at that point.
100% agree with that, because you can have someone commit to everything perfectly. They're not going to learn anything about themselves, about the process, about their body, about what works, because it's when I always tell my ladies, when you fall off the wagon, that is when we see the areas that need the most attention. Okay, when I say fall off the wagon, it may not be, oh, I binged this weekend. It may be a case of, I gave myself a free pass, like, I have a workout buddy that I usually work out with, and they weren't in the mood, so I didn't get my workout done. And you've spotted a weakness. It doesn't necessarily mean that they, go out and have it all, indulgent weekend. It could be simple things like that, and you realize that actually you are reliant on that support.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I love that. So one of the things I see a lot of is ladies think that they have to be perfect to get in shape. So
I would love to say that people think I'm perfect. It's absolutely not the truth. You do not have to be perfect. And in fact, if you are perfect, like I said, you're not going to learn. Okay. It's the beauty of imperfect actions that get you the best progress and best education.
Hell yeah. Say it again.
It's the beauty of imperfect action that gets you to where you want to be, because it's then when you learn, A, like I said, where your weaknesses are, and B, where you can concentrate your efforts on making those weaknesses into your strengths.
Yep. I love that because I think people think they see the world of Instagram, and I think the problem is they see us like we're training, we're putting pictures of us in the gym and we're doing all this stuff. And I think they have to be us to get the results when they don't.
I will be very honest with you. I've got a bunch of ladies that are making such amazing progress. I sit there and I'm like, oh my God, you're going to be lifting heavier than me in no time at all. You're going to be doing X, Y, Z better than me. And that gives me so much pleasure, because I'm like, you sit there thinking I'm perfect and that I eat absolutely on point and my training's on point and I don't skip a session and X, Y, and Z. But actually, here is a normal person who's not a PT, not a coach, nailing this. Yes, they have slip-ups as well. They're not 100% perfect as well, but they're on that trajectory as well of being absolutely freaking phenomenal, where other people are looking at them going, you're freaking perfect.
Yep, exactly. Because we don't see the flaws and the, I'm not gonna lie, even today I was supposed to train and I'm like, I've put it off. I've had clients in between, and I know in my mind I'm going, if I don't train after this, I'm not going to train today. I know it.
So I have to remind you at the end of this to make sure you go and train.
And there will be proof on Instagram that I trained. All right, cool. Damn it.
I mean, to be fair, I only started my Instagram account because I wanted to make sure I continued to hold myself accountable to get the things done that I needed to obviously get to my body goals and my health and fitness goals. And so every time I see people posting their gym selfies and stuff like that, like there's a lot of people I know that get really annoyed and they're like, every time you're at the gym, you have to post a picture or take a selfie. And I'm like, This is me holding myself accountable for me. So when I see it, other people doing it, I'm like, yeah, go you. Hold yourself accountable, post your damn selfie, show everyone that you're showing it the hell up for yourself.
Exactly. Do you know what? That's beautiful because so I did an interview with a lady called Michelle Barnes yesterday. She's freaking awesome. And she said the same thing. It's about showing up.
Yeah.
Like, even if you go into the gym and you do half your workout, you've done 50% more than the person who hasn't done anything.
You did, and it's not even comparing yourself against someone who didn't do anything. It's comparing that 50% versus what you were actually going to do, which is nothing.
The other person was me, by the way, who didn't train. So if I go in the gym and I do like a half a session, I'm like, well, okay, I've done something today.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how you win, right? It's like you said, just showing up every day that gets the results.
However, we don't want to negate the fact that you can't just keep showing up for 50% of that. So if you're doing 50% of your session today, next time we need to see 75%, because you should always be reaching for that progress on your own pace.
Does that mean I've got to do a really good leg day tomorrow?
I mean, I'd love for you to operate at 100%, but
yeah, but that's not going to happen right now. And that's what I think. That kind of goes back to that perfection thing. It's like I often say to my clients, look, if I can get you to score 80 every week, you're going to make phenomenal progress.
You know, I said this to someone last week. I was like, rather than having, imagine we're working together, and this isn't because, you know, we're working on a 12-week plan per se. It's just, let's use the first 12 weeks as an example. If you go all in with 100% perfection for that first 2 weeks, and then the rest of the weeks you start dipping and diving down, and by the end of week 12, you're doing like 15, 20% of what you're supposed to. I would much like at the beginning, if I know you're doing everything 100%, I get a bit worried because I'm like, right, this person's going to get this person's going to get waylaid somewhere a little bit later in the line, and we're going to drop that off. If I see you hitting 80%, around 75, 80%, week on week, and we get to that 12 weeks, you're going to have outshone that person who did the 100% for the first 2 weeks and then started dipping, because it's the law of averages. Your average worked out as a much better percentage of you achieving what you needed to.
Love that. It's like, yeah, those first 2 weeks, that's that honeymoon period, right?
It is, yes.
I'm not even married, and I can understand. It's like, right, we got married and everything's great, had the great holiday, come back, and then, but it can't be like that all the time.
No, things happen, life happens. Yeah, like yesterday when I fell and injured myself, and I'm like, oh damn, I was doing so well at the gym, my progression was coming along so well, and I was seeing such good changes. And then this comes along, and I'm like, right, okay, this morning I had to have a big old talk with myself and be like, okay, you can't go at 100%, but let's work on getting you better first so that you can get to that 100% as quick as possible. And if I don't hit 100%, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, but I do want to make sure I'm working on getting myself better than I was the day before.
Love it. So what are your kind of newer clients coming to you with? What have they kind of gone through? What kind of mistakes or things they may have fallen into unwittingly, let's say?
Oh God, a lot of them we've talked about prior in our last couple of podcasts.
Okay, yeah, but there might be some new ones. I've seen some new ones, so yeah, just because I think these kind of things help the listeners navigate those holes in the road.
God, yeah. So obviously we've seen the big keto followers, the the ones with the bulletproof coffees and the intermittent fasters and the meal replacement shakes, the lighter life, even people who have come from other coaches. I'm seeing a lot of that.
Okay.
Quite a lot actually, where they've been put on, certain regimes, certain setups, not quite tailored for them, not really looking after the individual. And they've come over they're working with a coach, you are very, very highly likely to get results, okay? What you've had to go through to get those results is a very different experience, okay? What you learn from it is is what's going to keep you there. Now, if you have got results, great, awesome. But what if you haven't learned anything from that and you're not able to keep applying it? What was the damn point? So this is what I'm seeing a lot of people who've come from other coaches, other setups, you know, even the online stuff. Just overall, you've got all these big fitspos who are selling a lot of online coaching setups of, you know, what do you call it, the click funnels, and sponsored ads and stuff like that. And you're like, actually, this wasn't really looking after you. And they're like, oh yeah, but you know, they tailored my nutrition, so I knew that and I'm like, it's just a calculation. If you really want to know this macro setup, that's just a calculation. What they're not looking after is you. And so they don't know where your weaknesses are. They don't know why you want to achieve what you want to achieve and how to drive you to that point.
Do you know what? And you're so right, because I see a lot of people I kind of call my thing the 3M method, right? So you got metabolism, which is like your nutrition, stress, sleep. You've got movement, which is your training and the movement. And then you've got me.
Yeah.
The mindset aspect.
And Craig, that's really cool, actually.
I know. I thought it just came to me one day. I was like, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But like you know, I spend so much time now working on the behavioral change and the mindset thing.
Very much.
Because the other stuff doesn't matter, right? If you can't get this right.
Yes, 100%. And it's something that I make sure that I speak to every person that books a call with me before they come on board, is that they understand it's not just the workout and the food that's going to help you get to where you need to be. We need to work on this. Okay. Very much so. As much as we feel like, and from coming from a PT background, yes, of course, it was all about the training session itself. You only got that time with that individual for as long as the session that they booked with you, for as many as they did that week. But we need to see what you are like in all the hours around that session to help you get to where you want to be and see what the gap is. What's the delta? What do you do now that's not helping you to get to this point over here? And if you're only spending 2 hours with me a week as a PT, there's very little I'm going to be able to do with you in that realm. However, when I'm coaching you, I get to know you, what your personality is like, what do you get triggered by, you know, what's your sort of mentality around certain situations and even certain people, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is massive. This is deep stuff. This is the stuff I love talking about, right? Because I can talk about the mind stuff. I'm not even worried about squats anymore. I'm like, I just want to get the mind of people. I'm like, yeah, forget the squats. Because I think you're right. You know, when I had my boot camps and stuff, the big thing for me was that only a small percentage of people were seeing changes. And I was like, well, why is that? And it was because we didn't have time to focus on the other stuff. Because people are told, train harder. Do more HIIT.
Oh my God. And I say this all the time. There are still coaches, from what I see these women coming to talk to me about, there are still coaches who are like, eat more, eat less, do more, eat less, do more, eat less, do more. And I'm like, how does that make you feel? Do you correlate what they're telling you, your instructions, against how that's making you feel? Because ultimately, if you feel like shit, you're not going to do what they're telling you.
Yep. Oh, love that. Because after a while, you do it for a while, and then you'll be like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, I had someone who came to me and she was like, she'd had a couple of coaches before, male coaches, which there's nothing wrong with females working with male coaches. But this one in particular was just like, he just didn't get me. He wasn't obviously a parent. He wasn't a mum, because mums do have it differently from dads. Sorry, dads. I
get it.
So he didn't, the way he used to manage her, he used to make her feel bad about not doing things. So if she did it just to avoid the bollocking that she was going to get if she didn't. And for me, from my perspective, like, obviously I'm a mum, I know if I bollock my kids, they're just going to fight back against me. Okay. Whereas if I encourage them and show them good ways of doing things in the way that they maybe enjoy, or you know, that suits them better, then they're more likely to do it and do it well.
Yep, totally agree.
these are the kind of things that have started cropping up more so recently. But one thing I am really excited about is how many people are starting to understand that, you know, online coaching is a huge benefit to their lives and achieving their goals.
Oh, listen, I've had a client recently tell me that she started a new business. It was because she started to work with me that it gave her the confidence and the mindset to do it. And I'm like,
gosh.
And that for me is, I don't care about how much she weighs on the scale. I don't give a monkeys.
Yeah.
That for me is what coaching is about.
100%. I tell my ladies all the time that your body transformation is this big a part of the pie. Okay. What I really look for is that your life overall is just starting to fire on all cylinders. Okay. Because I know that back when I used to work in investment banking, my career started taking off when I started looking after myself and filling my cup. And, you know, I'd be able to command my rates, demand the projects that I wanted, bigger and better and more confident, just because I felt so much more confidence within myself. And I was treating myself as not just, you know, a ride along. I became my priority.
But I think that's a real big issue for a lot of ladies, is that they don't see themselves as priority. And I'm gonna hazard a guess where I see it. And I think being a man does sometimes have a advantage right here. I can step back and just not be in the mum mode. I go, okay, cool, I see it. But I think a lot of that is kind of generational hand down, right? It's, well, you saw your mum do it this way, so therefore you feel like you have to do it this way.
Oh God, yes, so much this. In fact, I think I had a podcast that we recorded with a psychologist, and she was just like, you know, coming from an Asian background, this is so huge because in our culture, and I know a lot of your clients are Asian, so a lot of your listeners will resonate.
I'm Bertie Gujarati anyway, it's cool.
Yes, I do remember that actually. I'm sure you did feast on the dhokla that were coming your way when you were being delivered your goodies.
The rotli and the shack, and I was getting the onvo, I had some mitai. Yeah, man, I was getting all sorts of stuff. It was great.
You definitely are a good part of the crew.
Kitchery. Yeah, I'm like.
Okay, I'm
okay, sorry, we're getting hungry. Sorry.
From the food part. I lost my train of thought. Thanks there, Greg. But literally, our women, our ancestors, have taught us inadvertently that we are the lowest thing on our list of priorities. First comes family, husbands, household, extended family, not even work, because a lot of our ancestors, the females didn't work. You know, my mum did, but that's only because my grandmother was at home to look after us. And my grandmother actually quit her job to look after me at home. So my mum could be at work. However, the notion was still the same. Everybody and everything else came first. You did everything for everyone else, and you didn't need to worry about yourself.
Yeah.
But if we keep doing that, how fulfilling is that kind of life for us?
Yeah, it's gonna be miserable sometimes, right?
Definitely. And so when I started realizing that generational pattern, I was like, I'm not having my daughter think of herself as, you know, an option rather than a priority. I don't want her doing that. And of course I've got a son, so for him as well, I don't want him to think that the women that come into his life are there to serve those purposes and not put themselves first. So yeah, it was very important for me to live the kind of lifestyle that I wanted them to emulate later on in their years as well. And so by way of that, I love working with my mums, okay? Because the mums are going to be the ones that change the game for all our females as obviously time goes by, because those little girls that they're raising, they're going to be power women.
It's interesting. I did a podcast on I did someone else's podcast, and I said women are the bosses of the house. Like, as a man, I know I'm not the boss in my house. I know this, so don't even try. But what happens is women become the boss, but also the lowest ranked person as well. And it doesn't quite work like that. So, ladies, you are the bosses. You own this stuff. Like, but you have to act like you own it a little bit.
Yeah, you do. You know what? The main thing that you need to boss is your damn self. That's it. Everything else will follow.
Mm-hmm. But we're so worried about what Massey, Kaki, and everyone else says. See, I'm getting there.
You are
I'm getting
absolutely.
there. I'm learning. But
Now.
and for everyone else, this is your aunties, uncles, and the great aunts and all the rest of it. It's like we're so worried about what they're gonna think about us that we move forward and then we go, oh no, you know.
Yes. There is a lot of that, but that's far more progressive than what it used to be, where it was like, no, an absolute no, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Now people are starting to take that first or second step. And even if they move back a little bit and stay there, they've done better than the previous generation have done. Okay. Yeah. It's never going to be a whole 180-degree turn within one generation. Mm-hmm. Each generation will have to take that little step further. It's like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, right? You do it a little step at a time. You push the boundaries a little bit. You don't just, open the box and walk the hell out of it.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. So I want to switch lanes for a second. I want to talk about training.
Mm-hmm. My favorite thing.
Exactly. I know you love to train. So a real big one, I think, in a lot of ladies' minds is that they need to do lots of HIIT to lose weight.
They don't?
We know this.
No, they not. I'm asking you, do they not need to do that? This is new information for me.
Are you look, I'm gonna get you back for that. I'm gonna get you for that. We're gonna do a gym session. I'm gonna make you do Bulgarian split squats. Right. What was that face for? Yeah, see? I'm coming after you. So this is like coach on coach crime, people, for those listening. But yeah, I think there is this big notion that you have to do loads of HIIT workouts to lose weight. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've talked about this at length in actually both of the previous podcasts, but HIITs are wonderful. They get your heart rate up, you feel good, they're mental health boosters. I'm not even going to negate any of that. Good for your cardiovascular health as well. Please, please, please do not think I am anti-cardio, as much as people know that I'm not a fan. It has its absolute necessary place in our bodies, lives, and society. However, it does depend on what your goal is, okay? So I know in the past I've said, no, you don't need to do it, blah, blah, blah. But I am going to admit.
Oh, my Lord. Hang on. Let me enroll.
Yes. So it depends on what your goal is. Mm-hmm. If your goal is body composition and you want to change that to be, lower in fat, nice shape, good muscle tone, strength, then HIITs are not going to help you achieve that alone, okay? You can do it because, like I said, you still want heart health. It's still going to be a calorie burn. However, you're obviously going to want to choose the activity that's going to help you build lean muscle tone, get you stronger, mm-hmm. and encourage your body to shed the fat. That's always going to be strength training. I don't care what realm of education you come from. Strength training is always going to be your priority if you are looking for that body recomp. If, however, for example, I've got a few ladies who are like, right, next year I want to run a marathon. Their goals aren't strength driven, and they're not even shape driven. They don't care about having, nice tight big glutes and quads and things like that. What they want to do is run a marathon. So then your cardiovascular health and your endurance and your stamina is what is much, much more important for you to focus on. In which case, the strength is still necessary to support that, but it's no longer the priority item. The priority item will always be to work on, and so I know HIIT's not going to get you ready for a marathon, but I'm covering this more from a cardio versus anything else perspective.
Yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm.
And cardio will always be a good shout for your heart health. It will also eat into your muscle and fat, okay? Mm-hmm. It won't have a preference. When you do your strength training, it is going to help you build the lean muscle tone while shedding the fat. So like I said, you got to look at what your goal is.
So are you saying that you have to train for the goal that you've got?
Yeah. And you build in the things that you know are going to support that. So like I said, if you're a clever marathon runner, you will do strength work to help your quads, to help your hamstrings, to get your glute health in a good place. For your hip flexors as well, you'll make sure you cover all your bases as well as doing those runs to help.
Mm-hmm. I've had so many people who are joggers, runners, and we've reduced their running training, got them doing some strength work, and they're like, I'm running faster. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly this. You will see the difference physically. I even had a guy back in before lockdown, 2019 it would have been.
That era of life, right? Before lockdown. We don't even know what year it was. It was just before lockdown. It's like the dinosaurs or something. Yeah,
prehistoric, right? Pre-pandemic. I had a guy who was an avid golfer, loved golfing, but he came over because he wanted to lose weight, wanted to lose fat, wasn't really that fussed about strength training. However, obviously, me being super passionate about it and it being the primary bloody way of helping your body be in a good place, I got him to start strength training. And knowing that he was a golfer, we were able to build in really good exercises to help his golfing. And ultimately, he came back and he was just like, I don't think I've ever been as good as I am now. And this is the thing, it is based on your goals. What do you want out of, like in his goals, he had said that I want to be able to, I can't even remember what it was now, but it was something to do with his golfing. And I was like, right, let's get you there. And it's going to need a little bit of strength work on this side. It didn't make sense to him at that point, but it did when it finally actually took effect.
And I think that's the beauty of having a coach, is that someone who can step back and look at the whole picture. Because that's what we're the experts in, right? That's why we do this stuff. This is why we've studied, we've grafted, we've learned, we've coached. And I think, we just want to help people, right?
This is the main thing. I could even relate it to the fact that obviously now I've got a lot of pre and postnatal mummies, and a lot of them lose weight very, very quickly after they've had the baby, but they've still got back issues and stuff like that. And I'm looking at simple things like, okay, when you're breastfeeding your baby, what's your posture like? What are you doing? How are you doing this? And then obviously you see videos, you see them explain it to you, and you're like, okay, this is why we now need to work on strengthening and supporting your upper body, so that and holding your baby in the correct position to make sure that you're not aggravating that back pain. And then they're like, oh my God, I feel so good and I'm sleeping better. And it's like, well, there you go. And or even things like migraines, if your posture's crap, it's going to impair every other body process. Okay, your central nervous system isn't going to be in the place that it needs to be at. So blood flow restrictions will happen and you end up having little niggles everywhere. And this is why we look so extensively at what a person's life is, what their issues are outside of, I want to lose weight.
I think I want to lose weight, though, sometimes just becomes the de facto thing, because I think a lot of ladies really struggle to articulate what they want their life to look like, because they've never really gone there and gone, actually, maybe this is what I can be.
Oh God, yes, because they've never pushed themselves outside of that comfort zone. They don't know what to ask for.
I just want to tone up.
Big vague statements. Big. I just spoke to someone who was just like, I just want to lose weight. And I said, okay, why do you want to lose weight? What is it that you're looking for? She was like, because I'm big. And I was like, okay. People come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. What specifically makes you want to lose weight? And she talked about the fact that she sees all her friends that can wear anything they like, and she can't. She has to, she ends up having a breakdown every time she gets ready. I can totally relate. I remember when it was like that for me. It is right now in growth, to be fair. But the thing is, I let her talk, and she finally got down to the crux of it. And it was the fact that she didn't feel confident anymore in showing herself, and she was holding herself up, which made her feel even worse about herself because she was just beating herself up about it. And it comes down to the fact that she just didn't have confidence in herself anymore. And
that's why the 3Ms, you can move, you can get nutrition sorted, but if you don't get the mind and get the stuff out, that's why it's a problem, and that's why they come to you. Awesome. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So obviously, I know you're slightly injured at the minute.
Yes, slightly.
Okay, cool. So this is a really good point, because I think people, it'd be good to hear. So, because we get injured, I think people think we're like Wolverine and we just heal just like that. We're just like, yeah, we heal, we just get on with it. We're training every day. So what kind of steps are you going to take now to kind of rehab and get yourself back to where you were?
So I already started. So firstly, recovery, sleep needs to be on point. Food, I'm going to be very, very specific about making sure that I stay, like I said to you right at the beginning of this, I could easily murder a tub of ice cream and wallow in self-pity. Is that going to help my body get what it needs to recover? No. It might make me feel better for about a minute, because that's all it will take me to finish that tub. But it won't, after that, I'm not going to feel good about, myself in terms of my recovery. And so today I went into the gym, and everyone was just like, I hope you're taking rest, and I hope you're just lying there. It's a good opportunity for you to just laze around in bed, put on a good Netflix series and just binge watch. And I was like, I mean, I would never do that because I just don't watch TV. But I was like, if I don't encourage my body to move, I won't be encouraging it to recover. So I was literally straight out of bed, did a few very gentle stretches, walked around, warmed my body up, and I made sure that I then took myself off down to the gym and worked on my mobility. Okay, worked on bracing everything. For everyone, it's sciatic pain big time in my ankle. So with sciatic pain, the main thing is that using your core function is going to allow you and your body to move in a much more friendly way, which means that I had to today get I'm pretty damn good at using my core and engaging it, embracing it for all of my exercises. However, now even more so, it needs to be the priority item in every part of every single movement. So genuinely just getting in the gym, making sure that I was able to do that, and then very gently adding resistances as and where I saw I needed to. I walked out of the gym feeling genuinely like a free woman. The pain on the way there was no longer there on the way back. However, having said that, I've been on calls for the past 2.5 hours, 3, and now this will be the 3rd hour. And I already said to you when we first got on this call, I was like, I'm feeling really, really stiff. And if I could have done this podcast, or whatever you want to call it, walking, I totally would have, because being static is never going to help recovery. If you want to get better, same with your Achilles heel, if you just lay there, how long do you think it would have taken you to recover?
I wouldn't have recovered. It would have got weaker. I wouldn't have had the range of motion. And I'm still doing rehab stuff now. Like the doctor said, oh, you're never going to be able to squat again.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to lie. I do sometimes feel like saying to GPs, just stay in your lane, mate.
I feel sorry for GPs, because I think the public, they've got this perception in the public, but they don't know everything. And
it's a little bit of information across everything that they know.
Yeah.
I'm working with quite a lot of healthcare professionals as well who have no idea, despite being doctors, pharmacists, even surgeons, they still don't know how to treat their bodies to be in optimum condition.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's I mean, it's a whole nother conversation about the medical system that we could probably go into.
God, yeah.
But I won't go there today. Well, because I want to make sure that you can move and stuff, and I need to free Tej from her back pain. That's what I feel like now. I feel like, oh, I feel bad. But
No, that I totally. We wanted to do this for weeks. It's just unfortunate that it's straight after an injury.
us coaches have to have to look after each other. So
Of course.
I think what we're going to do is this, right? So obviously, tell people where they can find you, because that's, I think, like, you have one of the best Instagram accounts in the world. I can't do all the TikTok stuff, right? And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do that. So I just look at yours.
Interestingly enough, I actually lose followers when I post a TikTok.
Oh.
Yes, it's a very interesting fact. However, I actually little known fact about me, I was one of like the top drama students. I loved drama, clearly.
Ah, okay.
TikTok has now become a bit of an outlet for my creativity on that side. I'm not going to lie, I did want to be an actress when I grew up. However, I keep making them and posting them because actually I'm like, I would rather people know who I am and the right people follow me or stay and decide to work with me. So if you don't like it and you decide to unfollow me, great, have a great life. I don't need to worry about you. I'm more interested in keeping the people that I like to, vibe with around me. And that's why, like, for me, the following isn't a thing. I will always post from the heart and for people to make use of the information that I want to impart and also show a bit of my personality, because if people decide to work with me, they should know who they're working with.
Totally agree. I love that. So where can they find you, by the way? That was the first question. Like, I'm like, yeah, where can they find you?
If you want to see my TikToks, no, I'm joking. If you want to see me and what I do and get a whole heap of information, then it's at Tej_FIT on Instagram. And I now have a website. So since the last podcast, we have up leveled a little bit and branded, and I have a logo and everything. So I feel super, super professional now. And that's www.tejfit.com.
Awesome. I shall share the links with the world after this episode. So I think when you're better, and obviously we're trying to sort out each other's diaries, I think we're going to have another podcast. Maybe we should do like a foursome. Maybe we get like a coaches round table. Those
are always fun. And I love listening to those as well when there's a few personalities that play.
Okay, all right. Let's make it happen. Let's put our heads together. But I think that'd be a really good one to do, and maybe we'll get another podcast and talk about training and really go deep on training. I really want to go deep on training at some point soon.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're better and stuff. One thing I'm going to say for people not listening who can't see this, your shoulder's looking good, Missy. Looking good. I was like, oi, who's that? Good work.
2,500 calories a day will do that to you.
All right, hold on. All right, before you go, this is a really massive point. Tell people how many calories you're on again.
2,500 a day.
Ladies, are you listening to this? So, no, because I've been having this really big thing where I'm trying to get my ladies to put their calories up now. Like, we've gone through a fat loss phase.
Yeah.
Trying to move them back up now to recomposition and stuff, and it's like the resistance to eating is like, oh my god.
It's hard. I'm not gonna lie, I do struggle every time I put my carbs up because I'm nearly at 300 carbs a day now. 300 carbs, 300 grams.
I was about to say 300 carbs. I'd sort of struggle with that, mate. I'd be like, well.
Of carbs, and for some, I'm only little. I'm 5 foot, nearly 5'2". So
that's small. Oh, we need to go. We need to do a gym session soon. This is going to be fun. I'll be like, oh, hi.
Fuel, like, my recovery is unreal. Apart from this injury, having the fuel to recover from decent heavy sessions has been phenomenal. I'm still not lifting as heavy as I used to pre-lockdown because, as we know, we need to step it through gently to avoid injuries like this usually if I hadn't had a blooming fall. And this is why I wanted to chase that muscle growth. And I told you this in our last podcast,
yes,
that the muscle growth thing. And I'm going to admit, even at that point, I was highly resistant to eating more and more. Okay. And I'm not going to lie, it's still a battle when I can't fit into the clothes that I used to. I was a size 6 to 8 for years now, and having to now size up by a couple of sizes doesn't feel that nice as a woman. However, it's just a part of the journey. But I think you're right. This is a big topic. So we'll talk about me and my 2,500 calories.
Right. Yeah, man. That I love that. That's a great discussion to have. Like, you know, I think women are always trying to get smaller all the time, and sometimes actually it needs to be growth and expansion in your body and in your mind.
Yes.
You've got to eat more food.
The mind, the growth in body has made me have a massive shift of growth in mind this time. So yeah, I would love to cover. It's all about mindset for everything.
It's all up here.
Mindset and
Hold on. Before you need to do that again, go on, give me the bicep pose. I haven't got a, yeah. Let's do that. There you go. Awesome. Very good. Right. I better start training biceps now, because yeah, I can't train biceps. It's just like so boring.
No, it's not. Oh man.
Oh, drop me out. And I'm a man who says that, right?
Who does back biceps? You could give me that for days and I'll be like, yeah, come on, let's get it.
I'd rather do calves.
Yeah, I do love it. But you need to go and train now, Greg. Otherwise, you're not going to get this in today.
Oh, damn it. All right, cool. Been caught. See?
50% session.
That's what we love, people. That's accountability right there. That is accountability right there. So yeah, I'm going to go train. But thank you for coming on. I'm looking forward to talking to you again. Have an awesome day. Look after that back, please, Missy.
Well, I will. Thank you for inviting me again.
All right, take care.
Next one. Bye.
Fun. Bye-bye.